I started off with $6,000 in this one particular stock, right? I only had $6,000 in Clove. And this particular stock is at 24,000 right now. So really,
Insane.
really,
It's
yeah,
ridiculous.
exactly. Really, if I look at it, I've done nothing but gain. Even if I sold it, like started picking premiums and I sold it at $6, I've really not lost any money. I've only gained money. This is all like, house money. It's all money I've
Cost
already,
money at that point.
yeah,
Yeah, you're
exactly.
one of the few people on the internet that could probably say that about Clove. So that's amazing.
Exactly.
All I've done is make money on Clove. Everyone else is like,
Wait, do you live in a like parallel dimension? Like, what's the deal?
I guess I should probably introduce you too. I kind of just know you as Jen from the Discord. And so I see here Jennifer Carmen.
Yep.
I guess when did you join the Discord? When did you become a community member?
I would have to say I did. Gosh, it was probably about a year ago, I guess. But I've been, like in the beginning, I just mostly watched. I didn't really talk too much. I was kind of just watching what everybody else was doing because I was really a novice.
Of course, yeah.
Yeah, and I didn't really have a lot to add to the conversations. I was just trying to figure out what stocks all were because I really didn't know. I mean, like I'd seen news articles and, of course then, there was that whole like GameStop thing and that went, crazy on the news and there was all kinds of things, but I hadn't actually done a lot of research and I just knew that I wanted to invest. I didn't really know what that meant. I didn't really know how much money to start with. And I wanted to watch other people and see what they were doing. And so I watched a lot of YouTube videos and I found you one morning. You were streaming and I
Oh, so
sat
this
down
was
and
way back in the day.
oh
Feels like.
yeah, you were streaming. And so I was watching you that morning and I watched the whole thing and I was like, well, that was really interesting. And so I joined the Discord. And then, like I said, I just
Boom.
sat back and I continued to watch, what other people were doing. And I started adding a little bit to, my portfolio, and not really knowing exactly what to do with it. And at first I started doing some swings and I did okay. But it was like, it was very minor amounts. Swing trading, I think, either you have to work with either larger amounts or you have to really have like a sense of the market. And it just wasn't really, I wasn't really doing a whole lot with it. And then, I was watching Brenn talk about options and I was like, that's really interesting. And Brenn was actually the one that was like, oh, well, this is how you do it. And he brought me into a call and he showed me how to do options. And from that point on, I never stopped. Like I started selling calls and I just never stopped. And I grew just one of my stocks from what I put into it originally was 6,000 to now almost 24,000 just on selling
Let's
calls.
go. Wow.
Yeah, that's beautiful, and that's where you popped up in the Discord again. You said you joined like a year ago, and I was talking to Brenn yesterday, and welcome to the call, Brenn. We just started, so no stress.
Sweet. Can you guys hear me well?
Yeah, we hear you perfectly fine.
Awesome.
But yeah. Then I was talking to Brett, and he was like, "Yep." I was talking to Jen. You're popping up, but then you kind of had this period where you not necessarily disappeared, but like you could tell like something was brewing. Either she's working hard on something, or maybe trading wasn't for her. And then you just came back in full force, and now everyone in the Discord's like, "What is this strategy that you're doing?" I got really excited, and that just made me super super happy. That. I don't know just how well the community can learn together. I mean, Brenn is just so helpful. I've learned so much from Brenn. If it's trading, if it's crypto, if it's Call of Duty, he's always ready to get on a call.
But I've learned so much from you too. Like it's Like I stuck around because you gave me a really good routine in the mornings, like the morning live streams. It was really nice to have something, like just a community that you can plug into every morning.
Right.
But I never played your strategy. I never day traded the way you did. So I was always watching you guys and doing my own thing. Ever since Riot was at like 3.5, that's when I basically started like selling calls on Riot. I would buy
Yeah.
at 320, sell the 3.5 call and make $20, and I was so happy, you know.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's
And it
good
grew my
because
position over time because I
Yeah.
yeah, I
yeah,
did what Jen did, buying more of the stock because I was bullish Bitcoin back then. And yeah, eventually blew up my
that's even
account.
more cool that everyone here was kind of doing a different strategy, and in the Discord there's so many different strategies. And if anyone's watching this totally new, I used to stream every morning my day trading gap and go strategy. But we stopped that about, I don't know, a couple months back, just because yeah, it's a lot of traveling and whatnot. But everyone kind of branches out in their own way, and in this video, or I guess this call, we want to talk about Brenn's and Jen's strategy, the selling covered calls. I don't know who wants to kind of take the floor with that. Or
I mean, I could give it a go, and Jen can like just sprinkle on top of it, I guess.
Yeah. That sounds good.
But yeah, the overall strategy is basically you're trying to make passive income from your long-term investments. So basically, any stock that's sitting in your portfolio that you just want to buy and hold, do nothing with, basically, is kind of like dead weight in your portfolio until you take profits on it. So I was like, okay, how do I find a way to make passive income? And then I just found some covered calls from the video of the guy you posted. I think it's in the money. He's a great
yeah,
dude,
yeah,
and I
he's
basically
good
learned it
videos.
from him. And the whole idea is you want to find a stock that you like enough that you don't mind owning it. You need at least 100 share of it, and you want it to be a generally uptrending stock. And lastly, you want it to have ideally weekly expiration dates.
Weeklies.
So that, yeah,
Yeah.
weekly. So that's kind of like the yeah,
That's where it's at. No, the
prerequisite.
monthly ones just don't pay the same way. The weekly ones, that's where I branched out from what you had taught me. I was like yeah, these are great. I was like, but I want to get paid a week, like once a week.
Hmm.
And so I started really researching the stocks that do weekly options. It makes a huge difference. You'll make the same amount on a monthly as you do on a weekly.
Yeah, which is kind of crazy because basically
That is
between
crazy.
the fourth and the third week till expiration, nothing really happens on
Nope.
the premium. It doesn't really decay over time. And yeah, I guess we need to explain what we're doing first. So come Monday, you own your stock and you want to make passive income on it. So how do you do it? You sell a call options, a call option against your position higher than where the stock is currently. And the goal of this play is that by come Friday, the stock remains below the strike price you picked. And this way, all the money you collect by selling this call option, which is a fraction of the price of the stock, goes in your pocket and stays in your pocket.
Mhm.
And if you were right, meaning if the stock stayed below your strike price, you get your shares back, meaning you don't have to sell it because there's nothing to exercise since the call you sold is out of the money, and you get to do it all over again next week.
Mhm.
And the beauty of the weeklies is that the last week till expiration is when the premium just drop. That's
Yep.
when the time decay is the strongest. And the time decay is related to the one of the four Greeks that define an option. It's the theta. I don't know how you say it. Yeah, theta. Um, and this will increase. And yeah, and basically you just rent your stock to someone that's bullish on the stock on a given week, and you just hope he loses all his money, and you can do it all over again. And
I
Jen,
like
I
that.
guess you could explain what happens
Yeah, I can
Ooh,
tell
Yeah.
Jen's
things
brewing
go
with
south.
excitement.
Yeah, it's crazy because if you let it grow exponentially, if you resist the urge to pull the money out. So I had a plan when I started this. I was like, okay, I'm going to sell calls and I'm going to keep selling them until my stock portfolio reaches a point where I feel comfortable retiring. I'm not going to take the money out, even though sometimes I make a lot of money on these calls. I was like, I'm just going to take them and then I'm going to refeed it right back into the stock.
Hmm.
And by doing that, so, first time you're selling, one contract, and then you're selling two contracts, and then you're selling 10 contracts, and now, I'm, selling 30 contracts. And it keeps growing. And my projected is, by 2024, I'm going to be selling contracts, in the um, you know,
The big
The
boys.
the big boys, yeah, I'll be selling them, getting like $30,000
Apple,
a week,
the
and big,
Teslas.
yeah, exactly, the Teslas, the big ones. And you don't have to stay in one. That the one thing which is great about selling calls is not only are you making a weekly, premium on it, but you're also reducing your overall cost of what you paid for the stock. So even if, like, I get to a point where I feel like, um clove isn't really, or whatever stock I'm selling isn't really moving, it's not doing anything and it's not giving great premiums anymore. If I decide to sell and I'm not in green, I'm not going to stress about that. I've already made so much money off of this particular stock, and I've already reduced my overall cost of it just by selling the calls, that when I go to sell it, if it's,
It's painless.
down, yeah, if it's down several $1,000s even, I've already made that up in aces. I
Hmm.
can
Hmm.
sell it and then move that to a completely different stock, without feeling like I'm losing money.
Are you still in PLTR?
No, I left that. It that one was not really doing a whole lot, and I wasn't really impressed with where it was going. Eventually, I'd like to get back into it. The What I ended up putting a lot of time into was Clove, because the
Yeah.
weekly premiums were really, really good.
Yeah, it had all
It's
those fake outs. It never was able to really break higher than 8, but 7 was the big floor on Clove, huh?
Yeah, and the truth of the matter is that it doesn't really go up, but at the same time, the premiums on the weekly calls were out of this world. They were some of the best. For whatever reason, I don't know if it's because it's a meme stock or, um,
Yeah, it
you know,
definitely helps.
yeah, I think that's probably, the just it, for whatever reason, the premiums have been very, very good and very steady on it. It started to drop a little bit, so excuse me, it started to drop a little bit, so I might end up, pulling it and going into Codex, or Romeo. That's the other one I'm looking at lately. But Codex also right now has weekly premiums, and it's like $8.65 per share, but the premiums are like 50 cents per share for weekly calls.
That actually gets me excited about two topics that I want to be covering. First of which is, or it doesn't really matter the order, but you said the meme stocks and whatnot. And I know a lot of traders are doing options, especially meme traders like Wall Street Bets on Robinhood. So maybe later, maybe Brenn could show us a little bit on Robinhood, because I know Brenn does options on Robinhood. And maybe later, Jen can show us a little bit on Webull, the option chains or something like that. Or
Yeah,
is that
absolutely.
what you do? Use Webull?
I use Webull.
Okay, and then
Sure, I
this.
can show it too.
Yeah, thanks. And then the second thing is I guess I don't do a lot of options myself, so I was last week watching so many options videos, and then selling covered call videos, so I had a little bit of an idea of what it's all about. And one thing that instantly got me, I was like, where's the risk? What's the downside? And what Jen was talking about before with, if this stock just goes down, that's kind of the downside, right? That's one of the downsides, where
Yep.
your overall underlining asset is going down. And that's why Jen, I guess, would probably want to switch, as well as premiums not being as exciting. And then and please correct me if I'm wrong. And then the second thing is opportunity cost, obviously, where if you're holding Clove and it actually does break 8 and then goes to, let's say, $20 like crazy, which wouldn't be too surprising, Clove, that, and that's why the premiums are so high, you miss the opportunity cost because you would sell at strike and then you obviously don't get that that move, right? So that's
Absolutely.
opportunity cost and decreasing asset value. I guess that's the risk, I suppose.
Yes.
Right.
Yes.
Right. And I mean, it's honestly, it's a conservative risk though, because
It's very conservative, yeah.
right, exactly. And that's the whole deal. I mean, first of all, if it's decreasing, it's really not that big of a deal. If you've been selling calls on it for a while, so it's decreasing, you can still pull out of it without feeling like you've really had taken a big loss on it. And if it goes up, yes, you lose that money, but if you have picked a strike price above your average, I mean, yes, you'll lose out on all that potential capital, but you're still making the money back that you put into it, plus whatever you've made on the calls. I mean, yes, and I do see where some people are like, oh, but you'll miss out on all that, all those gains. But at the same time, I mean, you have to kind of put your mindset at, well, I feel comfortable with that. And I think it's taking the emotion out of stocks. If you just take your emotion out and just be like, yeah, but I've made all this money beforehand selling calls, then when it does go up to $20, you're just like, well, I've already made so much money off of it anyways. Don't be greedy.
Yeah, I love that. Yeah, Brenn was calling go, please.
Also, like, just time gave you reason. I mean, basically, just time showed that you were right on Clove. You were right to sell weekly covered calls for 6 months on a stock that ranged between 7 and 8.5, and everyone that bought the dip and, like, let's say jumped into Shamat, like, latest YouTube video, and like, they're still in pain, these people just holding the stock and doing nothing, and they're much more likely to sell for a loss,
right,
since the stock has done nothing for them.
Mm-hmm.
The stock has done so much for you that you're almost like grateful, and you're happy to buy the dip every week with the premium that you collect. So
Right.
basically, even if the stock keeps going down, if you're really bullish on the stock, it all stems with conviction.
Mm-hmm.
If your conviction is high, you have no problem throwing that free money back into the stock, and you're effectively dollar cost averaging into the stock, which is how Warren Buffett became so rich. You know what I mean?
Right.
He's not trying to time it.
Right.
So it's a really good way to reduce your exposure to that given stock, give an opportunity to that asset to give you passive income returns, and it's a realistic approach to the markets instead of being a moon boy and then going on stock twits or Wall Street bets trying to pump the stocks. You know what I mean? Like, it's just, and trust me, I mean, when I started, I've been there. I trying to look for that confirmation bias and all that stuff. But yeah, you just grow up, you mature, and then, like, just I talk to people on the Discord, and I explain to them the strategy, and they're like, yeah, I've been holding 1,500 shares of this and that for a year, and it's not done anything for me. You know what I mean? So yeah,
it's the perfect one just to accumulate your position size technically, and yeah, it's amazing. Who wants to maybe show a little bit of a live example? We'll keep it fairly quick because I know Jen as well has this really cool Excel spreadsheet that she wants to share, and I'm super thankful that she wants to share it with us. That's really cool.
I want to see that. Go for it. All you, Jen.
Okay, yeah. I can. Do you want me to show the Webull first, or do you want me to show the Excel doc?
Whatever you feel like vibes the best for you.
Okay. I think a live example of how do you actually do it is nice, and then you can jump to the spreadsheet probably.
We'll go.
That's good.
So first, you're gonna see. I've got this up here. Okay, so this is one I wanted to look at because I've been really interested in this one. Codex here. Okay, I think I have it in. So Codex is really interesting. Now it's up
I think you're
because
sharing. You're not sharing your screen. You're sharing a specific window,
oh,
and
okay.
it's on the Excel sheet right now.
All right, hold on. Let me try something different here.
Good
Okay.
call. I wasn't sure.
Yeah.
There we go.
Nice.
Okay.
Mhm.
So Codex is really great. As far as this has changed a little bit. This was last night for some reason. Codex blew up. It was at 865. I'm now looking at it. It's gone up. Um, and but here is where the calls come in. So I am considering buying 24 of these, and right now it looks like the only other premium you could sell would be at 10, above the
Okay.
actual, the price. But even if you would just had, you did it at 0.15, percent, I would be able to buy just about 2,400 of these, and you
So
still
so
can
are you
see
trying
here.
to go long? Are you already short?
For me, I want to buy Codex for long term.
Okay.
I'm actually really interested in this particular stock.
So you're
Um,
fully out for now, right?
Yeah, I'm not in
Okay.
right now. I haven't purchased
Okay.
this
Okay. Okay.
one. Yeah. But I've been really considering this one because I've been reading a lot about it. The financials are really good on this
Nice.
particular
Nice.
company. Yeah. So,
And it has weeklies.
and it has weeklies. So,
Nice.
yeah. So basically, if I was to buy this right now at $9.32 per share, I could start selling my weeklies at $10. I always sell above my average simply because I don't want to lose. I know some people will take a little bit more risk and they'll start selling below, if they feel particularly bearish on it, that it's not going to go up higher. That's also another good thing about calls is if a stock is particularly bearish, um, you can sell fairly risk free. And you can start selling, below your average without, like, if you know that it's not really going to go above a certain price, you can start selling, at the $9 range and feel pretty safe about it. I wouldn't do that with this one in particular, but so if I bought it for
I,
$9.29. Oh, go ahead.
yeah. I just wanted to say, like, in this specific case, if you buy at 929, sell the $9 strike, you actually, if you sell it even at the bid, you collect 50 cents a share.
Yeah,
So you technically bought at 929 and sold at 950.
right.
So even though the strike price you pick is below, the sum of the strike plus the premium is above your average. So you're effectively already in profit
You're already in profit because
instantly.
you're making $1,200. If I may, because I at this point have the power to purchase 2,400 if I wanted to. And if I
Okay,
did, and I sold at that 50-cent strike price, I would immediately right, off the top make,
I see.
$1,200.
Yep.
And, so yeah, you're already reducing your cost just by that, $1,200 premium there. And so there's that. But, I generally, because I'm pretty conservative about things, I tend to go just above my average.
Hmm.
And by doing that, I feel even safer. And, you know, it doesn't look very exciting at first. But what's great about this is I'll take this money and I'll feed it. And this is what I was doing with Clove. I was taking it and I would take this, even this small little premium, I would take it and I would just feed it right back in and feed it right back in. And by
Mm.
doing that, every time I would sell, I would have a little bit more. And, this one in
Like
particular is
one more
great.
contract to sell, and then one more contract to sell, and eventually you have enough money to sell two more contracts
Mm.
Yeah,
last week,
exactly.
and it just compounds. It's
And you,
compound. It's like dividend investing on steroids.
Yeah,
Instead of
I
waiting
mean,
for a whole quarter.
yeah,
yes, true.
exactly.
And you
Exactly.
still get your dividends.
Right.
Yeah.
I have been now right now Clove isn't doing fantastic, but I have been selling Clove, and most of the time the bid price has been like about 30 cents. I would say on average it had been about 35 cents to, at some points it would be up to like 65 cents per share. And I kept selling it. At this point, I do about 30, and I was selling at 30 at the 35-cent strike price. So I started making a lot of money. Like I was doing, and I just kept feeding it back in, which is what comes to this. So I started with, you know, like I said, $6,000. And this is just like I have to put the disclaimer out because the variables do change wildly. It's stocks. You don't know what the strike price that you're going to pick for that week is going to be. You don't know what the ask price is going to be. So this is really just a rough, like estimate. But what's great about this particular chart is that it does show you what your exponential growth will be if you keep feeding back into it. So, at first
See.
you only have a purchase power of, 95. You can buy, um, you know, uh,
Yeah, roughly
yeah, roughly,
10 shares, and then
right. You can buy approximately 95 shares, and then 98, 100, and then once you're starting to purchase like 100 shares at a time, every time you go back in to sell, you're selling just another contract, and you keep
yep.
doing it, and you can keep going until you're selling
Oh, wow. Four more contracts a week.
a week,
It's insane.
and your price will be more like the $4,000 to $5,000 per week by doing this. And I've done it all the way up to 2004. And this is where you start getting into the big money.
Wow.
So because you'll be able to start like literally purchasing 1,000, 2,000 contracts, or 2,000 stocks, and selling 200 more contracts.
Yep.
So I mean it's great. I particularly made this, what's really, I put a whole bunch of formulas in here. So there's a tax formula in case you guys, somebody wants to take out taxes per week. So we'll just put in, and even if you going with that lower, strike price, actually, I'm sorry. All right.
Oh, we're doing CODX right now, right?
Yep, we're doing CODX. Okay.
Gotcha.
All right.
929 here.
Yep.
I'm not
And
sure.
yeah, it's the price of the share right now is 929.
Okay.
So if you have 24 contracts, you're selling, sorry.
You're selling 15 times 24.
Yep, 24. So
I
you're getting
use
that.
Webull for the math. That's awesome.
Yeah,
So you get
yeah.
like 360.
Yep. So your gross sale for the actual contract is 360. And then it tells you how many contracts you can buy. And what I put in here too is if I wanted to add to it so I can keep growing it. So say I wanted to, actually be able to purchase more. I want to purchase 100 shares. Here is it telling me how much I would need to add
Hmm.
if I wanted to add to this myself. And then next time I can sell
One more contract.
one more contract. But I set this up as a tracker for myself. I did a projected. I also set it up as a tracker. Here also, if you wanted to like withdraw money or add money, you can put in like, I wanted to, this time around, I don't want to sell. And I can actually withdraw that. You can put it here. And it'll reduce it from your overall. You see how it changed the numbers?
Yeah.
And I just did that just so, if you wanted to keep a tracker. But it's what I did, like I said, for this mainly is just to show the exponential growth and to be able to have a tracker so that I knew exactly where I was at, how much money I would make, how much taxes approximately you should take out, because you do have to pay taxes on this at the end of the year, and how much purchase power you would have to purchase new shares. And that's a big thing, because really the covered calls, until you have enough of them, it's you're wanting to take it back and refeed it into whatever stock you feel good
Yeah,
about.
and let's say like your big clove factory can just like pay for your new position in CODX.
Yep,
Cool.
exactly.
That's
And
how
that's
you
what
can like dollar
yeah,
cost average into it.
exactly. And that's, and there's a bunch of them. OCGN is another one that sells weeklies,
Okay.
and they're pretty good. Right now, 35 cents above. Like, these are good. These are really good. Once you have, a certain amount, you're starting to really bank off of these.
Yep.
35 cents doesn't look like a lot, but it is.
Even if you look at the 850, it's basically you collect 53 cents at the 54 now.
Yeah.
Basically, it's almost, yeah. What is it? Is like 6%, 7%?
Hmm.
I don't know. 0.54 divided by 57. You're making a 6.3% trade that expires next week
Yeah, exactly.
by doing that
Huge.
thing.
Yeah.
And like I said, because it expires next week, the chances of you keeping your premium on weeklies that's another thing. It's pretty high.
Yep.
And
Yeah,
it's
because whales push down the markets on Fridays
Yeah.
most of the time, more often than not.
Cool.
and it's
Low volume. Yep.
the premiums you get from the weeklies usually outweigh the premiums you get on the monthlies, or is it kind of similar, but you get even 4 weeklies, right? So technically a monthly should be 4x.
It's not.
But it's
Yeah,
not, right?
it's not. It's not. You will here. What's a good monthly? I can't remember what a monthly is.
And I guess it's a good reminder too that anyone's watching this, most likely you're not new to options, but you want to have 100 shares of this company in your account, and then automatically it will be a covered call.
I remember one here. I'll show you. This one's actually pretty good, but even still, it doesn't equate to what you would CTRA. This is a monthly. And you can see here, like, this particular one is actually fairly good for the monthlies, but they're not usually, double. Like, you would think that you would get a premium that would equate to the same way you would get, per week, but it's not.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And it's hard.
Also,
Four
the monthly,
months out is
this
a
one
lot.
is
Yeah.
this one is next week, so this is virtually a weekly right now that we're looking at.
Yep, and then this would be, oh, these are weeklies.
Oh yeah.
Oh,
Oh, you're right. Let's
wait.
go.
Yeah, right? Whoa. I didn't even
New
realize.
candidate. Add it
Yeah,
to the
right?
watch list. I'm doing
That's
it
how
now.
it works.
Yeah, I
That's
didn't
how
even
it
realize.
works.
Yep, I didn't even realize this. I thought this was a monthly. But basically, I will make, so you saw the premium could be up to $2,000 per week, but I've seen monthlies which you would get $2,000 for the entire month, and so it's not really as dreamy as doing the ones per week, for
Yeah.
sure.
I like a weekly schedule too because it's I don't know, you keep a little bit more routine. Like in a month, you kind of forget what you did.
Yeah, well, there's that too. Yeah, I'm surprised. I swore they might have changed this, because I swore this was monthly, because I actually wrote it in my notes.
At the top in the middle, it says regular, weeklies, quarterlies.
Yeah.
But I'm not really the
Yeah,
big
you
options
filter out.
trader yet, so
Regular,
Filter
yeah,
it out
regular
for
is
you.
monthlies. Yeah, regular means monthlies.
got it.
But I watch a bunch of them. As you can see, this is, all the different ones that I do watch. Here's another one that's really good as far as like weeklies.
All these energy stocks.
Well, that's
I'm
why
behind on these.
yeah, I look at excuse me, I have a frog in my throat.
G
Excuse
energy
me.
transfer. Good.
No
Um,
worries.
yeah, but these I look at a lot of different stocks that have really stable potential as well. I tend not to look at the meme stocks as much. I picked Clove just simply because the premiums were really good at the time, but I also try to look at ones that I think are over time are going to just keep growing anyways.
Mm.
Um,
Brent said it
so
really good. I remember we had a quick conversation yesterday where he likes to pick stocks that long term he's bullish, but short term bearish.
that's
I,
that's
I
exactly
mean, it's
it.
not. Yeah, it's not even being bearish about the stock short term. It's just like being able to pick something,
Or like
and
neutral, I guess you can
if it
say.
flies, yeah, if it flies past it, you're fine because your risk management is well defined, and you're still winning, earning money, and it's more like trying to be a more balanced trader and investor because the short term doesn't really matter. And
Right.
eventually the stock is going to gap up out of nowhere, probably on earnings or probably whatever, or it might be a slow grind, but you don't really matter. You don't really care.
Yeah.
So yeah, it's that ability to be um, optimistic or just like not expect while not expecting too much. For example, if Jen expected more from Clove, she might have got out way earlier.
Mm.
And so it's finding that balance.
Yeah.
Me
I
on the
think
other
that's.
hand,
Oh, yeah. Sorry, please.
yeah, I'm just me on the other hand, I really like went the other route. Like I started with this all the Bitcoin miner stocks that I could find. I was trying to just gobble them up while they were low before the bull run. So basically, what happened is I was playing this game of being both short and long, and trying to keep it in the range. And so being exposed to the upside at this to the long term. So I would buy, like, let's say 3 month out expiration on Riot because I'm bullish on it, but at the same time I'm still selling the weekly.
Right.
But my long term long calls are just like free because I collected all that premium to be
Right.
able to afford to go long, and
That's a good
eventually it gives me
strategy.
an opportunity to just exercise these um, long call options so I have more. But it's more risky than just buying the stock with the premium because you're buying a call which decays over time too. So you got to do this right. And over time I managed to make a lot of money and increase my position, but retrospectively I should have probably done what Jen has been doing this whole time, which is just consistently buying the dip, or not
Yep,
necessarily
that's
buying the dip,
exactly.
just
Yeah.
buying it every week, regardless
That's
of the
Accumulating.
price.
I just buy
Yeah,
it no matter what. That's the whole thing. I buy it no matter what. I just keep
yeah.
I don't I'm I'm not
You
trying
can't miss a
to
payment.
yeah, I'm not trying to like, buy only dips or buy only because I feel like that's when you start really getting the FOMO, you know? It's like
Amen to that.
I
Imagine
mean,
me on
yeah.
Bitcoin stocks.
So it's just I just keep buying. I just keep buying. I feel good about, if I pick a stock, I've done a lot of research on it. I feel good about where it's going. Even if it's not really doing a whole lot right now. I mean, that's actually better for me. I expect that they're going to do well when the stocks really pick up, when the economy is doing better, when interest rates and inflation is not as much of an issue.
Hmm.
um, I expect some of these stocks to start doing really, really great. But even if they didn't, it doesn't really matter because if you're selling weekly calls on them, you're still making money. I mean, like, look at this. This is another one, a fuel cell energy. I like my energy companies. If you haven't
Yeah, I
noticed
almost
it.
got in this one. I had like 7 or
But look,
6.
FCEL, that's a classic.
but if you
It
look at
is.
it, look at these
Even for you,
premiums.
Alex.
Yeah.
These
Trauma.
premiums are fantastic. Like
Yeah, they really are.
They're really, really good. And this is another, it's weekly. And there's really no reason. It's like I look at them and it's like, why not?
Can you go to next week to November 19th and
Yep.
see? Nice.
Yeah.
The thing that's so appealing to this strategy, I believe to many traders, will be even if you have a job or if you maybe trade the pre-market like I do, this is something you could do along the side and almost treat it more like an investment. It doesn't have to be like a second job, more or less, because you could do it fairly
It's
quickly.
Low management.
Very low management. That's the beautiful part
Absolutely.
about this.
It's still considered active trading, but it's a lot more passive than most other kinds of trading. It's you're still actively um, managing your account. You're not just putting money in and not looking at it, but
Right.
at the same time, I mean, it's a whole lot more. It takes me, I'm on here for like 5 minutes, Monday morning, you know what I mean? And then I don't look at it for the rest of the week. It just is what it is,
Absolutely amazing.
And you come back on Friday and make sure that the call stayed out of the money. And also you need to show us what happens if they didn't stay out of the money. If you're in the losing bet.
Yeah.
Because
I'm going to stop presenting and let you do that, but yes.
Sure.
Yeah.
The rollovers. Yeah.
The rollovers.
The rollovers, really important. Because it would be like a disservice to just like say, hey, look at all that money that you can make without showing
the downside
of the strategy. Absolutely.
Opportunity cost. Yeah, and if you guys ever have something, a question in mind that maybe a user or viewer or somebody in the community might have, just feel free to. You guys might be thinking this.
Yeah.
Yeah. So let's see. You know what? I'm just gonna show you my own personal example, because this week, Riot blockchain gapped up past the supply level, basically, which was previous resistance, and it kind of like went past my expectations for the stock. So what happened is Monday morning I sold the $35 call. So basically Riot on Monday morning, I went aggressive actually. I sold it here, so Monday morning, and the stock just blew past it. And okay, Bitcoin went all-time high, fine, but it kind of like kept pumping all throughout the week. So this is what's gonna happen. So the stock is up 22% on the week. How does it affect me? Basically, I sold these 3 calls. I sold them for $220. So I collected $220 per call, and this went in my buying power. But the problem is the value of the call went all the way up to to 670. So I basically sold here like an idiot, and it went all the way there. So basically, if I want to close my position, I'm going to have to pay 3 times the amount that I collected, right? But it's fine. I don't care. Why? Because I'm going to roll over, and I'm going to show you exactly what it is. So if I were to just want to get out of this position, I would just like have to click here. So this is Robinhood. Yes, I am on Robinhood. I would put 3. I would put the price, and boom, I'm out. I sold for I bought back for a loss. But what I can do, remember, we're like selling products that decay over time. So the further out you pick in time, the more expensive the contract is, whether you buy it or sell it. So what I can do is, so here I'm on the buy side, I buy this, and at the same time, I go further out in time, let's say December 3rd, or let's say next week, and I would pick an expiration, let's say here, and this would offset the loss on my trade by 3.20. Basically, I collect this amount and I spend the other amount, and that would basically reduce the amount of money I have to pay. But my strategy is like to keep collecting money every week. So, and also, I think Bitcoin's gonna dump big time this weekend. As soon as the market closes, I think we're in for another leg down. And so what I will probably do come market close, I will just like roll over into something like this, and I will have to pay 253, but I collected 220 on Monday. So it's just a net loss of um $30 per contract.
Mhm.
And basically it pushes back the contract I have, the obligation to sell my shares at 35. Now it's 40. And let's say the stock stays at 42, then this amount will go down to 2. Okay. So I'm still selling, even though it's in the money. There is still currently this amount minus 1.87 is the extrinsic value. So this is the
Mm.
time decay portion of the contract that I'm trying to sell. And this portion will go down. It will go down like this,
Mhm.
basically. And that's why we're selling premiums 1 week out, 2 weeks out, because if you sell it here, it drops dramatically.
Right.
The slope is dramatically steeper than here when it just slowly grinds down. So yeah, I'm just like taking my sweet time on this one because Riot is still pushing, which is kind of crazy.
Oh, yeah.
Um,
Is
One of the
Jen?
Even though
Yes.
Bitcoin looks like this, which is interesting.
Jen, is rolling over something you do a lot, or what are your thoughts on?
So to be honest with you, I take a different strategy. I don't roll over. If my stock sells, it sells. Because especially with ones that go up and down, if you have a volatile stock, right? And you sell and you've been collecting premiums on it, like I said, so say I'm holding, a premium, I sold at a strike price of $8 for Clove, right? And it all of a sudden goes to 12. I'm going to let it expire and I'm going to sell at the $8. And I don't have a problem with that because, next week or 2 weeks later, it's probably going to be back down to $8 again, especially with something like Clove or even Riot or Mara. They tend to, kind of go up and down, right?
Yeah, absolutely.
Yes, I could roll over and take a loss on it, but I don't. I would let my stocks go. I'd let them and I just hold on to that money. And either I would put it into a different stock or I would wait until Clove came back down and I would rebuy it. Because there's no point. There's no reason for me. There's no reason to take any loss. I don't need to. I'm comfortable with the strike price that I pick. That's one of the reasons why I will pick a strike price above my average.
That's
I mean,
conservative, of course. Yep.
it's really
And that's when I
conservative.
went aggressive and I got clapped.
Yep,
But
yep.
that's, yep.
And it would be different. Like say I had been feeling particularly bearish about Clove and I picked a strike price of $6. I at that point I probably would roll over. You know what I mean? Because I've picked something so much below mine, I don't really want to let it go for a whole lot less, especially than my average.
For
Um,
sure.
but I
And
don't I don't do that.
And you would sell below your average price, make the strike below your average price just to get a really good premium, or what would the major incentive be?
Right. Yeah. So yeah, here. I'm gonna just present one more time.
Yeah. What do you feel like is the sweet spot for a strike price in like terms of percentage over your average? As you said, you were conservative more on that.
If
I
you can
don't.
make 5 to 10% on the
Yeah.
premium on versus your average cost, this is a great trade in my opinion. I think Jen will agree with that.
Yes, I do. So right now, my average for Clove is actually $8, and it's only at 7.18 right now. So I mean, if I sell at the $8 mark, I'm really not making a whole lot of money. So if I go down to the
Mm.
$7, or to the 7, 0.5, I'm gonna make a little bit more money than what I was doing. It's below my average though. So I'm taking a little bit of a risk. But at the same time, I've also been selling this particular stock for 6 months. So really, am I taking a loss? Nah, not really.
Maybe not.
No, not really. So, but I mean, I some people, you can go down. I mean, if you expect this to keep going down, you might want to go ahead and sell at $7 and, take an even bigger premium. And that's
Right.
why you would do it.
Technically, your asset is already down, so you're not losing more, so to
No,
say.
you exactly because I mean, really, like I said, I started off with $6,000 in this one particular stock, right? I only
Mm.
had $6,000 in Clove. And this particular stock is at 24,000 right now. So really,
Insane.
really, if
It's
yeah,
ridiculous.
exactly. Really, if I look at it, I've done nothing but gain. Even if I sold it, like started picking premiums and I sold it at $6, I've really not lost any money. I've only gained money. This is all like, house money. It's all money I've
House
already.
money at that point.
Yeah. Yep,
Yeah, you're one
exactly.
of the few people on the internet that could probably say that about Clove. So that's amazing.
Exactly. Exactly.
All I've done is make money on Clove. Everyone else is like, "Ah."
Wait, do you live in a like parallel dimension? Like, what's the deal?
People are trying to plan their
Do
coups against Shamath, and
you
And
live in the
that's
future? What's the
and this
deal?
is again and like this is what I did. I mean, even if this particular stock does nothing else except for stay at like the $8 range, right? Even if it just stays at this and does nothing more, never gets bigger, never, explodes like people think, I could keep doing this through 2024 and like really,
And be an
literally,
absolute millionaire.
and be an absolute millionaire by the time like I'm looking at June, I'm going to have, like um over
20 grand coming every month, for every week.
every week. And if I
I love this
stop even
community.
selling calls, yeah, exactly. So
It's
so
hilarious.
I'm looking at like, netting like 1.5 million by 2024,
That's a
And
flex.
imagine now just add in, let's say Clove goes 10% up a year. You know what I mean? Like the price of these premium that you're selling every week goes up with it too. It's
Right,
pretty much a proportion.
exactly.
So if Clove goes to 12, even 12, oh
Hmm.
my God, the amount of
Right.
money you're making.
Oh,
This is
right.
not, we're not talking about $8 anymore.
And
We're
this is
talking,
I did these projections literally on like if it just stayed sideways. Like
yeah.
like if I did no if it does
Conservative.
nothing,
Yeah.
conservative. I mean,
Conservative projections are the best projections.
this is the conservative projection. I mean, like for 2000, if it does nothing else but stay exactly the way it has been, and it's not going to. But even if it did,
Yeah.
like there's no losing here. There's no, like there's not really a losing side.
Yep.
It's a beautiful thing. I don't want to take up so much of your guys' time. It was amazing what you guys were able to share. Is there maybe something else you'd like to share before we do start wrapping it up, or discuss, or
Yeah, just if you want to start doing this, just start small. See how it feels. You know, like
Exactly.
if you've been thinking, or if you've had like hundreds of shares of a stock that you love that's doing nothing. Let's say you have 1,000 shares or 500 shares. No matter what the price is, just start with like selling one contract, two contracts. And if things go well, you're probably gonna feel like you should have sold more this given week, and you're gonna try and sell more next week. And
It's a little
and
addictive.
yeah, it's a little addictive
yeah,
because
I believe
it's
it looks
easy
addictive. I'm
and
already addicted and I don't do it. I love it. It's so
and yeah.
good. If
And
if
yeah, like the ability
yeah,
to, there's a big difference between being able to throw everything back and compound everything every week into the stock versus like doing other things with it. And I'm the best. I didn't go 4x this year, for example, because I've been using the strategy to pay my bills and just pay for, this is just like how I pay my bills, basically. I pay rent, Riot, Mara, Hut, etc. So I take profits every week. I keep some, but I do take profits. So there's a big difference between throwing everything back into it and not doing it and spending your money on other things.
Right.
So
For
yeah,
me,
you got to be
yeah,
able
no,
to do that.
yeah, for me, I personally am still working. So this is a long-term play for me, doing this. I have resisted the urge to spend any money. I have not taken out anything, even when things like, I'm sitting there like, my
Yeah.
my energy bill really is looking a little high right now. you know, I was like, I'm like, no, I'm just gonna go ahead and feed it back in. And, I think even if you didn't feed it all back in, even if you just did a little bit, if you pull out some of the money per week and you use a little bit of it, if you just take just a little bit of your money and feed it back in, you're going to see some serious results.
Yeah. Yeah, I was able to. I slowly DCA'd out of Riot. I used to have more shares just so I can accumulate more of HUT, and that's also one way of doing it slowly. Like you on a given week, you're like, all right, my call is in the money. I'm just gonna roll over 2 out of the 4 that I sold. You know what I mean? And then like you take that money in and you put it back somewhere else. And yeah, I was pretty lucky to buy HUT at 7 in September, and it's already 15.3 right now. And also, I've been able to not get clapped by selling something too
Yeah.
aggressive.
For anyone
So
that
I
doesn't
still
know,
have my
like
stock.
like me yesterday, clap means where your position goes against you and more or less
Yeah, you're in pain.
in
Yeah,
pain.
you're in pain.
I just got a notification from Google here. Our call ends in 7 minutes, no matter what we want to do.
No matter what.
No matter
was
what,
really
I got to
nice, guys.
upgrade. But if somebody wanted to contact you guys to ask questions, obviously the Discord's a great place. But if you guys have anything else, I could always add it in the first pinned comment below this video. If you guys want to say it now or send it to me later,
Sure, my Twitter account is L3RENN_, which is a weird way to write Brenn. But yeah, if you just
I'll get you to
can
send
add
that to
in.
me. Yeah, and then I'll put it in the
Sure.
first pinned comment. And same with you, Jen. If there's anything or just everyone knows where to find you guys in the Discord.
For sure.
Yeah, just join the Discord, guys.
Join the
This
Discord.
is if you want to
It's
Yeah.
free,
bring
so
it to the next level. It's free. We just share great tips. It's a great community. There's no pumpers.
you just gotta
Yeah.
watch out
People do
because
a little bit of everything.
Brenn is a moderator, in case you guys didn't know. So he'll throw the ban hammer on you
Hammer.
if you don't watch out.
But yeah, definitely, I would say, find me on Discord. If you want to know how to use this tracker, like Alex said, he was going to make it available. So if anyone wants to use the tracker,
That's
I
sweet
can
of
show
you.
them how to. Oh, it's not. Thank you.
Yeah,
Yeah, some people make it like a paid feature on their
Yeah.
paywall and stuff like that. So
No, see, that's the whole thing. That's why I love this community. I mean, we have done nothing but just try to help each other make money.
Right.
I mean, that's
yeah. No one's
Where do you
selling
find-
anything.
no.
Yeah.
Where do you find a whole bunch of group of people who are just like, I want you to make money?
Yeah,
and
especially
all power to you,
traders.
all power to you for just holding it down for like 18 months, like every market open on stream, showing your face,
Yeah.
doxing
exactly.
yourself is just it's all power to you, and I'm very, very grateful I found this community for sure.
Same.
I'm
Same
grateful
here.
to you guys. You guys are my accountability partners for sure. I think if I wasn't streaming or if I didn't have you guys in the Discord, there'd be those days where like, you gotta take today
throw it all
off
on
or
Earth.
yeah, or I'm gonna hold this loss longer. I'm gonna break a rule,
Yeah,
but
Yeah.
yeah, you guys would yell at me too much for that. So
All right,
that's
guys.
amazing.
Thank you. Thank you for letting us do this.
No, thank you
Of
guys for
course,
coming
of
on, and thanks especially Jen for sharing the Excel, and also you, Brenn, for bringing this strategy into our lives.
Yeah, for
No, I
sure,
didn't. I didn't invent it. I just did my homework, shared something that works with me, and look, Jen is doing the same now. So that's the beauty of it. We're
So
all here
good.
to.
Yeah.
There's no foes in this. We're all here to make money. It's really nice.
Love that.
Exactly.
love that.
Pass it on.
There's room for everyone.
Absolutely, except for bears. Fuck the bears. Screw the bears.
I guess I gotta bleep one part of this.
Yeah, I'm sorry.
No, it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter at all. YouTube has a good
All
feature
right,
for
guys.
that now. All right.
Oh, nice. Catch you later, guys. It was
Have a
sweet
great
talking.
weekend, guys. Ciao.
Thank you.
Ciao, ciao.
Be well.